After doing a video on the Robot Factory demo of TimeSplitters 2, I wanted to go back and do something similar with one of the earliest demos we have for it, the 2001 Siberia demo, which is a strange combination of the first game and second game in terms of the pacing, gameplay, ammo, how guns work and all that. Siberia even plays out differently. It's a lot more combat heavy. You encounter a lot more enemies who are aware of who you are. There aren't as many opportunities for stealth. And enemies don't use the grenade launcher on the Soviet S-47. They instead do that TimeSplitters 1 thing where they throw grenades at you. This demo has a lot of hidden stuff in it. Ryan, UK, AUS has done a really good job documenting it. For one thing, the assault rifle, the FAMAS, is loaded into the game's data. You can play around with it and load it in with a cheat engine. Same goes for the Time Mine, which is normally there in the final game, but in the demo, it's replaced with the remote mine instead. You can also clip through the door that leads to the dig site to continue the demo and finish it, whereas it ends when you open the door and see the zombies. The zombies behave like the TimeSplitters 1 undead, where they only die if they're decapitated, but the neat thing is they can still have their limbs removed like the TimeSplitters 2 zombies, so it's a bit of a hybrid of how the two different games worked. The chopper, as shown in preview photos, was an Apache, an American helicopter, which doesn't make much sense, considering it's set in the Soviet Union. So in the final build, it's a Hind, Mi-17 helicopter, I think. It fits the setting more. So those are some of the immediate differences right out the gate that you can see. There's also a MapMaker hidden within it. It sort of works. You can make maps, but you can't really play them because it doesn't have the resources available. And Ryan has another video on that, really good one. Let's dig into the game with HXD. Let's see what all it has to offer, because there are plenty of stuff from the game's development that didn't make it into the final version of TimeSplitters 2. Some stuff wasn't even in the Robot Factory demo, the one that I went into. So let's check it out. The demo lists about 35 projectile types that you can encounter, or that the game would have active. Some of them are just versions of stuff that we already have in the final game, like electric for the electro tool, or foam for the fire extinguisher. Other stuff doesn't seem to really have been featured in any other games. Some very odd projectiles are mentioned, like gas grenade, cluster grenade, EMP grenade, laser coils that could be the laser guns fire, I'm not sure. There's one called wall hugger. I'm not sure if that's like a sticky bullet that was like to be detonated. Then there are purple and orange laser bolt, which I think were from TimeSplitters 1. The flare, which was cut from the cut flare gun. The disc from the cut disc thrower. And arc laser. I think that might have been the green Mox lasers, but I'm not 100% certain about that. There are 3 arcade awards that I don't remember ever seeing in another game. I think they might have been cut. One is unlikely to get a medal, undeserving of a medal, no comment, and no medal awarded. So 4 of them total, actually. There are lists of gun sets as well, a lot of which come from TimeSplitters 1, but there are a few that seem to have been made for TimeSplitters 2. Stuff like Gun Set Tomb, Gun Set Village, Gun Set Mansion. I'm not sure if they were thinking about making recommended weapon sets for them, because there aren't any recommended sets in TimeSplitters 1 that I can think of for levels. There's also a list of skies, some of which are kind of generic, some are just meant to fit levels. It lists a sky for Robot Factory, even though you can't see outside as far as I know. There's one listed as Planet 2 sky. Notre Dame sky would have been the Paris skyline you see. There, again, generic ones are like Orange Sky, Bright Dawn Sky. rainbow sky, purple haze sky, and a sky mentioned for the cut level outpost. Warehouse sky was probably meant for Chicago, just like Mars sky was probably meant for Return to Planet X. There are more levels listed that went unused. Outpost again, Tube, Planet 2, I'm not sure if that would have been Return to Planet X. There's a listing for a dummy level. The TimeSplitters 1 test levels are there, along with the cut level Prison from TimeSplitters 1. And there's one called Pivotal, I'm not sure what that was about. Some character names also appear that don't appear anywhere else. Witch appears again. I'm guessing that might have been for the Changeling. Cultist. I'm not sure. I think all of the TimeSplitters 1 character names come back in this, including Blue Robot. There's also a listing for a character named Mexican, who I guess might have been Hector Baboso, because he is a Mexican character you encounter, a cowboy enemy in Wild West. There are a bunch of MapMaker's listings for settings that just seem strange. Some are for the maze generator it has, that list like small, medium, or large levels, the disco lighting, bright lighting, dark lighting, if you want it to be a story map or a maze or something. I guess some of these are for setting up AI, because they mention listing them as snipers or doing ambushes, what state they're in, what weapon they have. For some reason, it also lists Pepsi, Amphets, and Red Bull. I don't know where you can encounter that. Again, that must have been for MapMaker. I don't know if that was just a joke, like a placeholder, or if it was for a light setting or what. Some more levels listed that don't appear in the final game. There's one called Outskirts. Mexican mission was called Mexican Village. Chicago was going to have a multiplayer version called Warehouse. Again, that appears here as well. Sometimes Splitters 1 maps appear here. I'm not sure if they're going to make a return or if they were just put there because the game was built off TimeSplitters 1. And of course, the game has a big item list and weapon list of things that did and didn't appear. Ammo is divided up between high-velocity bullets and small bullets, instead of having different ammo types for different rifles and different pistols. Blunderbuss was supposed to make a return, as well as its dual-wielded counterpart, which actually didn't get into the final game of TimeSplitters 1. The Gatling gun and Gatling gun times 2, the assault shotgun, the Uzi, and Uzi times 2. There's a listing for the NPC's ability to throw grenades. The disc thrower and disc thrower times 2 pop up. The plasma auto rifle was called the plasma machine gun, and there was a dual wield version of it. The homing launcher was called the homing rocket launcher. The electro tool was called the electro gun. The assault rifle was still in it. Same with the assault shotgun. The Garrett revolver was just called the Magnum, and you could dual wield it as well. And there was a flare pistol that you could also dual wield. There's also a list of modes, only a handful of them. Some of them are interesting because it seems like they might have made a return, or they might have just been left there while developing the game from TimeSplitters 1. There's CTF, which capture the bag, bag tag, deathmatch, escort, knockout, last stand, zones, and story. Which isn't a lot, but it's kind of surprising that Zones is being developed before some of the other modes. There are some initial briefing listings, some initial objectives for Robot Factory. One that strangely calls the Electro Tool by its proper name, even though it was called the Electro Gun in this build. The default gun is mentioned, the Desert Eagle. Its model is mentioned among the weapons. I'm not sure. I guess it must have been present from the very start of development, or at least early on. I would explain why it has that sort of lower detail design. The debug menu from TimeSplitters 1 is mentioned here along with its features. There's a debug feature that's supposed to imitate the end of level for faster save testing. You could actually do that in the Robot Factory demo. If you hit select and square, you complete it. And there's a big list of character names. Some of the soldiers have different name designations, like Soldier Mutant for Hybrid Mutants, Veil Soldier for the Captain, Gas Mask Soldier for the Troopers, Female Soldier for Lieutenants, Helmet Soldier for Sergeants, Beret Soldier for the Privates, and some early names for characters, like SentryBot was Big Robot, the Machinist was Kid Robot, it seems like Big Tony was the Fat Man, and Braces was called Braces Thug. And as mentioned in another video, Ramona Sosa was called Ramona Cortez here. No sign of Sergeant Cortez himself, though. I guess it must have been early in development for him to make a proper appearance. But still, it's really neat. It's fascinating what all was being worked on, what all was being considered at this point in development. I definitely want to take a deeper look into more of these demos if I get the chance. But it's just fascinating stuff. And it's definitely worth probing into these different builds of the game and seeing what all was different beneath the surface. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.